So the first question is provide the basic definitions of an initiative and a referendum. So an initiative or a popular initiative is a form of direct democracy by which a petition meeting certain hurdles can force a legal procedure on a proposition. The hurdles a petition has to meet vary between countries. Typically, signatures by a certain number of registered voters is the hurdle it has to cross. A referendum is a direct vote, pardon me, by the electorate on the proposal, law, or political issue. This is in contrast to an issue being voted on by a representative, and this may result in the adoption of a new policy or specific law, or the referendum may be only advisory. So explain how initiatives and referendums are created. In order to be placed on a statewide ballot for consideration by voters, an initiative petition must be presented to the Secretary of the State, certified by a local election official, and be signed by a specific number of qualified registered voters. A referendum is a measure or item, section, or part of any measure enacted by a legislator during legislative sessions. Arizona's registered voters may circulate a petition to refer to the voters a measure of a part of a measure or a part of a measure passed by the legislative. Referendums is a decision for the General Assembly to put a bill on the ballot. An initiative is when the citizens get signatures and make the decision to put it on the ballot to be voted on. Pros and cons of each. It is argued that the simple existence of the initiative mechanism acts as a check on the activities of the legislature. So it's another form of check and balance, which goes along with Arizona's emphasis, or the progressive movement's emphasis on citizen involvement when the creation of the Arizona Constitution happened. This is because legislators are more likely to introduce certain reforms and measures if the initiative mechanism exists, because it is likely that if they do not, an initiative on the issue will be launched. One very often cited disadvantage of citizen initiatives is that they result in badly drafted law. The wording of the measure as initially proposed ends up as statute. If the measure is passed, it is argued that the failure to use the expertise provided by the government and lawyers and officials who are familiar with the drafting process leads to laws that can be meaningless and ineffective. And those laws often have to be redrafted. Additionally, in some cases, statute created by the initiative process is found to be unconstitutional. So obviously, when creating law is not your sole job, is not your sole responsibility, misinformation and lack of knowledge can be an issue. A further disadvantage is just the sheer number and complexity of issues that voters are expected to vote on. It's impossible for voters to make informed decisions when there's that much to vote on. There obviously are people who are extremely informed and dove into it. I think many of the people in this class would be that type of person. But there's plenty of people out there that would be uninformed, or at least not fully informed by the time it comes to vote. When it comes to referendums, direct democracy can help to re-engage voters with politics and democracy. Another argument in favor of referendums is that they can be used to resolve political problems, particularly for incumbent governments, where a governing party is divided on an issue. It helps to not split the party. One of the weaknesses in this is it undermines the role and the importance of elected representatives. Referendums are sometimes seen as means available to elected representatives to avoid having to take an unpopular position on a controversial issue. And then voters do not always have the capacity or information to make informed decisions about issues at stake. So again, that goes back to the same issues that we find with initiatives. It typically the average voter is not informed, and of course, who could expect them to be as informed as the individuals whose job it is to make and prescribe laws? And finally, explain how initiatives and referendums support the idea of direct democracy as outlined in the Arizona Constitution. Pretty simple. Direct democracy in its simplicity is citizens directly making decisions for the government. Initiatives and referendums both call for citizens to vote on issues and decide for themselves. So what's direct democracy would not be possible without things like referendums and initiatives. The progressive movement, the Arizona Constitutional, direct democracy, all call for maximum engagement from citizens in government, and referendums and initiatives are two examples of ways that you can get maximum engagement from citizens in government. Thank you.